Have you ever really stopped to wonder what truly separates the ultra-successful from, well, everyone else? We see the jets, the massive companies, all the resources, and we think, that's it. But what if the real difference isn't in their bank account at all? What if it's inside their head? That's what we're digging into today. We're decoding the architect's mindset that powers their entire world.
So let's just start with that big question right off the bat. What is the actual secret sauce here? Is it just incredible luck? Maybe a huge inheritance? Or a once-in-a-lifetime idea? Well, those things can be part of the story, for sure. But they're usually just the symptoms, not the root cause. The real differentiator is a specific way of thinking, a mental operating system that, once you understand it, kind of changes everything.
And this really is the whole point of this explainer. The biggest, most powerful asset anyone can have isn't $1 billion. It's the mindset that knows how to generate it. It's a complete paradigm shift in how they see the world, how they see their resources, and their place in it all. And this is the foundation we're going to build on.
Okay, so let's jump in with the most obvious piece of the puzzle, money. For most of us, money is the end goal, right? It's the finish line. But for someone with the architect's mindset, it's not the finish line at all. It's just the first tool they pull out of the toolbox.
Just look at the language here. It tells the whole story. The average mindset is pretty passive. Money is something to be earned and saved. It's about building a fortress of security. But the architect's mindset? It's all action. Money is a tool to be deployed, like an army of capital you send out into the world to build things, solve huge problems, and ultimately measure the scale of your impact.
So how do you actually start thinking this way? Well, first, you've got to stop thinking about your savings as just this stagnant pool of water and start building rivers of cash flow. Then, second, you use that cash flow to buy or create assets, things that work for you 24/7, even when you're sleeping. And finally, you leverage all that capital to go after bigger and bigger problems. Because here's the secret. In this game, the size of the problem you solve almost always determines the size of your reward.
But, okay, if money is just a tool, what's the most valuable thing you can buy with it? The answer is actually pretty simple. More time. It's the one resource that is absolutely 100% finite. You can't make more of it. And for the architect, that makes it the ultimate currency.
And this right here really shows the philosophical divide. Most people are taught to trade their time for money, a linear one-to-one exchange, an hour of work for X number of dollars. But the architect's mindset completely flips that equation. They don't see time as something to be spent, they see it as something to be invested for an exponential return. They don't just manage their time, they find ways to multiply it.
This simple quote, this is basically the guiding principle behind almost every major decision they make. Every choice, every opportunity is weighed against this one simple reality. And once you really truly let that sink in, it changes how you look at pretty much everything in your life. So how do they put this into action? First, they delegate relentlessly. Anything that isn't their unique strength gets handed off. And this isn't about being lazy, it's about being ruthless and protecting your focus for the few things that only you can do. Second, they get obsessed with identifying high-leverage activities, the 20% of tasks that produce 80% of the results. And third, they actively buy back their time. They pay for the faster flight, the grocery delivery, the expert consultant. Reinvesting money to get back time is one of the highest ROI moves you can possibly make.
All right, this brings us to our third and final mindset shift. How does the architect's mindset deal with obstacles? Well, while most people see a problem and, run the other way, the architect sees a problem and sees a giant flashing neon sign pointing directly towards an opportunity. Now, to really understand this, you have to get this one concept, asymmetric risk. It's not about avoiding risk. No way. It's about finding risks where the potential gain is absolutely massive and the potential loss is, relatively small or at least capped. Think about it this way. What if you could bet $1 for a chance to win 1,000? That's an asymmetric bet, and you take that bet every single time.
So this is basically their playbook. They don't just see a problem. They reframe it as a market inefficiency or a deep unmet need. Then they dig and dig to find the root cause. After that, they run the numbers on that asymmetric risk. If the upside is there, they execute fast, measure the results, and then adjust on the fly. It's like a scientific method for turning chaos into pure value.
Okay, so we've decoded how these architects view money, time, and problems. Now let's pull it all together. Let's make this practical and create a framework you can literally start using today.
Think of this table as a cheat sheet for upgrading your own mental operating system. every time you catch yourself thinking the thought in the left column, and we all do, I want you to consciously pause and replace it with the question on the right. Just shifting from a statement of scarcity to a question of possibility, that's the entire game.
So, what's the one crucial takeaway from all of this? It's simple. Your mindset, not your circumstances, is the true architect of your reality. The way you think about money, about time, about challenges, that's the blueprint that gets drawn up long before the first brick is ever laid.
So I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. If your mindset really is your most valuable asset, the one that governs all the others, what's the very next investment you're going to make in it?